Welcome to the very last day of review of week 8, the last day before final exams. What are we going to see today? Today we're going to see solving equations, okay? We're going to solve multi-step equations with variables on both sides. That's what we're going to solve today. We're going to work with some exercises that have variables and some decimals, and some of them that have fractions, because I know that those are the ones that are a little bit more complex and to which you are more scared. So we're going to start with the ones with fractions. So we got 2 over 7x plus 4 over 5. And this is going to be equal to positive 5. That's a whole number. Let me see if I have someone in there. Yeah, I do. There it is. Thank you, Guillermo. Okay, so this is what we have. So remember, what we want in every single equation is to leave the variable completely alone and positive in one of the sides of the fraction, of the equal sign. Which side? We don't care. It could be at the right, it could be at the left, as long as the variable is positive, okay? So in this case, we got only one variable. So this 4/5 is the one that needs to get moved first. So this 4/5 is going to go how? To the other side. How's it going? What's the inverse operation?
Multiplying.
Sorry?
Multiplying.
Multiplying.
Subtracting.
Going to go subtracting. Why, Daniel, subtracting and not multiplying?
Because it has
the
sign, the plus sign, the addition sign.
Exactly, because there is an addition sign in front of the fraction. So it goes subtracting, okay? Don't forget about that. Pay attention to that. So we're going to have left the 2 over 7x. And this is going to be equal to 5 minus 4 over 5. So now we got a whole number subtracted a fraction, or that's being subtracted by a fraction. Can I do that just like that? Or what should I do? What should I do there? And I just go ahead and say 5 minus 4 is equal to 1. No, right? I need to add a denominator. How do I make this 5 a fraction? How do I make it a fraction?
An invisible one.
Add in as a denominator an invisible one. That's going to be invisible now. Now remember, we have two options of how to subtract this fraction. It's either with the happy face method or with the LCD. This one, I'm just going to do it with the happy face method. Why? Because between 1 and 5, the LCD will be 5. So I'm going to just go ahead and do the happy face method for this exercise. So I'm going to say 2 over 7 x is equal to 5 times 5.
25.
5. 1 times negative 4, because I need to take into account the negative.
Negative 4.
Negative 4. And everything over 1 times 5.
5.
5, correct. So now I'm going to simplify that. I'm going to have 2 over 7x. It's going to be equal to, how much is 25 minus 4?
21.
Over 5. Okay, we're done there with that part. Now we need to leave the x alone, and this is a fraction that's multiplying. So how does it go to the other side? How does that go to the other side?
Dividing.
So I'm gonna have 21 over 5 over 2 over 7. Do we solve it like that? That's how we solve it? No, right? We don't solve it like that. So how does it go to the other side? How do we solve it?
We have to flip.
Multiplying.
We have to continue to multiply because it's a fraction and this is the only case, remember? And we don't use the inverse operation, so we continue to multiply because it is a fraction that's multiplied. We continue to multiply and we flip or we reverse the fraction, okay? So don't forget about that because if not, you might get confused. So I'm gonna say 21 over 5 times, and instead of 2 over 7, it's gonna be 7 over 2. And I'm gonna try and do cross simplification. Remember, cross simplification is simplifying within the same fraction between numerator and denominator, and then simplifying crossed numerator of the first one with the denominator of the second, or denominator of the first one with numerator of the second. Okay, so let's see. And I simplify something between 21 and 5. Can I simplify something between 21 and 5? No. Between 7 and 2, within the same fraction? No. Between 21 and 2? No. Between 5 and 7? No. So what am I gonna do? I'm just gonna go ahead and multiply in a straight line because that's how we multiply fractions, okay? Numerator with numerator, denominator with denominator. So in this case, x is gonna be 21 times 7. Twenty-one times 7?
147.
147. And 5 times 2?
10.
So it is 147 over 10. And you're gonna leave me your answer as a fraction, as an improper fraction, okay? I don't wanna see no answers in mixed numbers, nor in decimals, okay? Unless we have decimals like in our next exercise, which is gonna be 3.4.
Miss, question.
Yes, yes,
Do we need to copy this and do we need to upload this to the notebook?
yes, you do.
Okay, Miss.
So 3.4t plus 0.08 is going to be equal to 11. It's equal to 11. So what should I do now? What should I do, guys? What should I do here? What's the first thing that I need to move, or what should I do?
Move 0.08, I think.
Exactly, because that's the first thing that I need to move. And how does it go to the other side?
Subtracting.
Subtracting, very good. So we're gonna have left 3.4 t is equal to 11 minus 0.08. And I'm gonna do this subtraction just to refresh your memory on how we solve it, okay? So we're gonna place the 11. Since the 11 has no decimal point, my decimal point will be over here at the very right. Okay, here, this is my decimal point. aligned, I'm gonna align decimal point with decimal point of my other number. So 0.08. This is a subtraction. And I'm also going to align my point, my decimal point on the answer. But I cannot leave this like that, empty. So I'm gonna add zeros in there so I can have the same amount of numbers in the number on the top as in the bottom, okay? And now I'm ready to subtract. 0 minus 8, I cannot do that. So I'm gonna ask 1 for this, but this is a 0. So this ask 1 for this. This now will be 0. This became not 10, but since it lent 1, now it is 9, okay? So 10 minus 8, 2, 9 minus 0, 9, 0 minus 0, 0, and 1 minus nothing, nothing. So it is 10.92. Okay, so remember, I need to align decimal point with decimal point, both in my procedure and in my answer. So now I got the 3.4t is equal to 10.92. Okay. Let's put this point down. There, 10.92. Now, what should I do now?
Move 3.4 to the other side, dividing.
Exactly, Daniel. Move the 3.4 to the other side, dividing. In this case, I do use inverse operation because it is a decimal and not a fraction. So I do use my inverse operation. So now I have the t is equal to 10.92 divided by 3.4. And again, I'm going to do the division so you can refresh your memory and how we do it. Denominator goes on the outside. So 3.4. And the numerator goes on the inside of the little division box. 10.92. Now remember, I do not need decimals on the outside. I don't care if I have decimal points on the inside. I cannot have decimals on the inside. Why not? I mean, on the outside, because I need to move it to the right as many times as possible until I get a whole number. So I'm going to move this 1 time. And as many times as I move the decimal point on the inside, I'm going to move it on the outside. No, al revés. On the outside, move it on the inside. Okay, so I moved it once as well. So now I have 34. It's going to be dividing 109.2. And this decimal point that I still have here, I'm going to copy it over here. Okay, I'm copying my decimal point at the top. Now I'm going to ask myself, how many times does 34 fit in 109? How many times does 34 fit in 109? Mm-hmm.
3.
3 times. 3 times 4, that's 12. I'll place a 2 and carry a 1. 3 times 3, that's 9, plus the 1 that I carried, that's 10. And I subtract 109 minus 102, 7. I already placed a decimal point in there, so I just carry down the 2. And now I ask myself, how many times does 34 fit in 72?
2.
2 times. 2 times 4, that's 8. 2 times 3, that's 6. And I subtract. Now I'm gonna say I can subtract this, so this becomes a 6, and this becomes a 12. 12 minus 8, 4, 6 minus 6, 0. I'm gonna add one more because I want to have my answers with two numbers, two decimal points after the decimal point. I'm gonna add a 0 in here it doesn't exist up here, so I'll just place it in here. How many times does 34 fit in 40? One
1.
time. That will be 34 because 34 times 1, that's 34. And I subtract it and I have that's is 6. And I'm going to leave it in there. So I'm going to say the t is equal to 3.21. And that is my final answer. Questions? Questions? No questions? Okay, then basically this is the first part. Okay, now we're gonna do one that has variables on both sides. Okay, we're gonna do it with what? With options as well, okay? So I'm moving this a little bit to the side, so I can have an empty space over here. I'm gonna place my exercise. My
Miss, ¿podría
exercise,
volverlo a poner, Miss? Que
English, please,
me
Jose
falta una parte,
Fernando.
por favor.
English,
You can put me again the other part, please. Thank you, Miss.
okay. This will be the last exercise that we will be doing probably because they take a long time to solve. So 3 times h minus 4 is equal to 1/2 parenthesis 24 minus 6. Okay. So what is the first step to do in here? That's the first thing that we need to do in here. Mhm.
So the parentheses.
But you doing what?
Distributive property.
Distributive property, exactly. By doing the distributive property. So I'm going to multiply over here because I have a number on the outside, but also this one in here, right? So 3 times h,
3h,
3h. 3 times negative 4,
negative 12,
negative 12 equals to 1/2 times 24. Okay, now this is what you need to do. You're going to multiply the numerator times the number and then place it on top of the denominator because it's a fraction multiplying a whole number. Okay, that's what you're going to do. If there was a fraction, then you multiply numerator with numerator and denominator with denominator. In this case, it is a whole number, so we're going to multiply 1 times 24. That's 24. And we're going to place it over 2. Minus 1 times 6, that will be 6h over 2. And now we can simplify this, right? So we're going to copy it again. 3h minus 12. How much is 24 divided by 2?
12,
12. Minus, how much is 6 over 2?
3,
3h. Now we can pass variables to one side and constants to the other. So this negative 12 will go to this side,
adding,
adding. But at the same time, I can move this negative 3h to this side, and it will go
adding,
adding as well. So now we're going to have this 3h is in there. I'm going to place in green the one that I'm moving, plus 3h equals to the 12 that I have in there already, plus the 12 that I'm moving. And I'm ready to simplify. 3h plus 3h,
6h,
6h. And 12 plus 12,
24.
what do I do next?
Divide the 24 with the 6.
So this 6 needs to go to the other side, dividing, right? So I'm going to have now that h is equal to 24 over 6. So h is equal to,
4.
4.
and that is my final answer. Even though it began with a fraction, I'm ending with the whole number. Okay, I finished with the whole number. And this is basically what we are going to be seeing for this very last day of review. Do you have any question whatsoever? Yeah, okay then.